וזמרת יד, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי 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 וזמרת יד, ויהי לי לישועה.
Page 134. Hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz. Bitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru. Raise a shout to God, all the earth. Break into joyous songs, songs of praise. Page 134.
L'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz. Pitzchu, ranenu v'zameru, ranenu v'zameru, ranenu v'zameru. בכל זמרה, זמרו לאדוני בחינות, בכל זמרה. יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 나 나 나, יא נה 나 나 나 나, יא נה 나 나 나 나. Ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na. Ahariu, l'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz, l'Adonai kol haaretz. Pitzchu, ranenu v'zameru, ranenu v'zameru, ranenu v'zameru. זמרו לאדוני בחינות, בחינות בכל זמרה. זמרו לאדוני בחינות, בכל זמרה. יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na.
Page 132, 137. Adonai oz la'amo yiten. Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. May God grant strength to our people and give us the gift of peace. Page 137.
Adonai Yos, Le'amo Yiten Adonai Yevarech et Amo. Adonai Yos, Le'amo Yiten Adonai Yevarech et Amo. Shalom, Vashalom, Vashalom, Vashalom. We welcome the Sabbath bride with the words of Lecha Dodi, page 138.
Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela.
שמו וזכור, בדיבור אחד השמיענו, איך המיוחד אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת, ויתירה.
Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela.
לקראת שבת, לכו ולכה, כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם, וסוכה סוף מעשה, ומשאב התחילה.
Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. מקדש מלך, עיר מלוכה קומיצי, מתוכה בחרב לך שבט מקבחה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. התנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך מעל יד בן ישי, בעת הלחמי קרבה אל נפשי כעלה. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela.
התעוררי, כי באורך, קומי אורי, שתדברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נקרא.
Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. לא תבושי ולא תקמי, מה תשכחי ומה תהמי בך יחסו, הענייה מבני בנתה הרלתי לה לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה
לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה
וחיו למשיסה שעושייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן הכלה לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה
ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי הידיש ונרצי ונשמחה ונגירה
לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום
עצרת בעלה
גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראתה לה בני שבת נקבלה.
And so we turn to Hadlakat Nerot, Hadlakat Nerot Shel Shabbat. You'll find it on page 119. And India is having her bat mitzvah tomorrow, and she and her family will read the paragraph on page 119 and light candles.
As these candles give us light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our day, be amongst those who kindle light.
No bracha, please. I'm sorry, you're right. Light the candles. Lahad Lichner. Amen.
So just as we light the candles and welcome Shabbat, so too turn to each other. If there's anyone nearby whose name you do not know, greet them, welcome them, make them feel welcome, wish them Shabbat Shalom.
It's so often the case that they blow out, as you see week after week. I hope you have a wonderful day.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי השום עלינה, ועלי היגיון וכינון.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך הנן. מה גדול מעשיך
לשיר שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה המר יברח, ארץ בלבנון, בלבנון יזכה, שתו בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינון בשבע, בשני ורעננים יהיו להגיד ישר אדוני צורי ולא הבלטה.
Page 142. Shalom Aleichem. The angels accompany us, blessing this Shabbat, blessing this week. May it be as beautiful as the Shabbat that we bring in today.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem,
מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים,
הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת,
מלאכי עליון,
מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שובכם, שובכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון,
מי מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We rise on page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish and the call to prayer, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
והעמד תפרחי רוצה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחייתךו בית ישראל
בהגלה, בהגלה, ובזמן קריב.
ואמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, תעלה מולל מעל מיה, יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה
בריחו.
לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה, תנירן בעלמה.
ואמרו
אמן.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Please be seated and join with me on page 148. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים. בחוכמה פותח שערים ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המריב ערבים.
אהבת עולם
אהבת עולם,
ישראל
אל עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות
ומשפטים
אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת.
כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו
הם חיינו,
לחיינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך תשים
אהבתך אם ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
שמע ישראל בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו הציצית הכנף ותיר תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותן, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Please join me at the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together and singing this song.
Ya bam bam bim bidi bam, ya ba bam bam bim bam, ya bam bam bim bidi bam, ya ba bam bam bim bam, ya nai na nai nai nai, ya ba bam bam bim bam, ya nai na nai nai nai, ya ba bam bam bim bam.
ונאמר כי ברא אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני קהל ישראל. Page 160.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך והושיענו למען שמך והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב. ושמור צאתנו, ובואנו, לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ועד עולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, eternal one, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Page 162. We shall keep Shabbat. This is our covenant for all time.
ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל
אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We rise on page 164 for the Amidah or the Tefillah. As is our tradition, we chant the first three benedictions, and then we continue in silence, whether using the words of our prayer book or the words of our hearts. And feel free to be seated when you have concluded your personal prayer or meditation. Page 164.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיים מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומטוב מלך, מלך ביטול חייהו משמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהרגוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone, here in our Beit Knesset and those who are watching at home. Our ensemble gathers around a liturgical running sheet, which tells us which songs we're going to play together and which key and what page it's on. And then there's a sign, a row for the drasha. And it says that Cantor Lalum is speaking tonight.
I am?
It's a good thing I prepared a little something.
It's called ventriloquism, Rabbi.
It is impossible for
Can
me
you
to
see
imagine.
how good I am? I even have the voice down.
It is impossible for me to imagine that I'm the only rabbi around the Jewish world who sees the delicious possibilities implicit in the story of the demagogue Korach and this week's federal indictment of the twice impeached former U.S. President Donald Trump. You see where I'm going with this? I know what you're thinking. I hope he's not going to be draining our cup with American politics. Don't worry. But I will argue that what happens in America does not stay in America any more than what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. If America defaults on its loans, as we were concerned it would just weeks ago, then the world's economies are threatened. If America reneges on its climate commitments, if American politics are poisoned by disinformation, if the system of free and fair elections and the peaceful transfer of power are undermined, if democracy itself is challenged, well, these are destabilizing everywhere, even as far away as Australia. It is something akin to what is known as the butterfly effect. What happens there affects us here. The pandemic, as much as anything else, bears this out. Today, my native country is at an inflection point. The issue before us is not just the guilt or innocence of one person who, it appears, likes to store nuclear secrets in his bathroom. It is instead the health of America's judicial system and the rule of law, the bedrocks of liberal democracies. In time, and hopefully in the not too distant future, we will see whether in the U.S., as Special Prosecutor Jack Smith put it in his statement this week, there will be, in fact, one set of laws that apply to everyone, or whether some are above the law. There have been this week heaps of articles written about the dangerous times ahead for the U.S., but none better than, in my opinion, the work of Thomas Friedman, who wrote in the New York Times on Tuesday. Now, Friedman is a longtime observer of Trump, and he articulates in his article how Trump has broken every rule, defied every norm, and in so doing, and in Friedman's words, broken the national neighborhood in two fundamental ways. I was very taken by that phrase. The first way he has broken the American neighborhood is with respect to character. Friedman writes, for starters, Trump has constantly tried to denigrate people who have demonstrated courage and character by labeling them losers and weaklings. This comes easily to Trump, for he is a person lacking in character, devoid of ethics and loyalty to any value system or person other than himself. These are Friedman's words, to which I wholeheartedly subscribe. Think of how, since he came down the golden escalator in 2015, he has put down everyone who has dared to disagree with him, everyone who's had the temerity to stand up for principles, how he has legitimized sexual assault against women, mocked and insulted women. How disgraceful. You'll remember when he disparaged John McCain, who fought for his country, who was imprisoned in the Hanoi Hilton, and he called him a loser. Shocking. Remember when he made fun of a reporter's disability, flailing his arms like a petulant child? Remember the name-calling and the threats and the bullying of judges and immigrants who'd come to America in hope of a better life, congressional leaders who served their country with honor, and the valorizing of those who on January 6th called for the death of the sitting vice president and stormed the Capitol. Think and remember how just recently he shamelessly attacked on national television, on CNN, E. Jean Carroll, after she won a civil defamation lawsuit against him in New York State for sexual assault, who, you may know, now feels it necessary to initiate another suit against him because he continues to talk rubbish against her. Trump has very low morals. He understands, it would appear, based on the evidence, he understands nothing of limits or respect for others. I have chosen to describe him this way. This Trump, who once held great power and now who holds enormous influence, does in every word, in every inflammatory tweet, ridicule everything that I heard from my teachers and my parents, my rabbis, my Torah, about decency, about honesty, about integrity, about loyalty and honor. I am beside myself and having trouble sleeping to think that his mug will be glaring out from the pages of every newspaper I read, at least until November of 2024. And his words poisoning the discourse and fraying the fabric of society where my family all live. Friedman, who came to prominence, as some of you will recall, in his 1980s era book From Beirut to Jerusalem, says that the second way that Trump is trying to break our system is by discrediting the rule of law or anything else and anyone else that would restrain him and his appetite for power. Think about what he does. When judges or courts do their jobs, when congressional panels investigate his actions, when special prosecutors perform their duties, they are immediately denounced. And the whole process is said to be a witch hunt. The government, he says, has been weaponized against him and his followers. Everyone is wrong. Only Donald Trump is right. Everything is broken, and only Donald Trump can fix it. Trump is the dictionary definition of the demagogue. And what is a demagogue? I looked it up in the dictionary. It says, a demagogue is a political leader who seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than using rational argument. A demagogue is one who proclaims that he acts in the interests and on behalf of the people, but whose interest is his alone. Listen just a moment more about how Friedman sums up what the great teacher is teaching his followers. Rules are for suckers. Norms are for fools. Basic truths are malleable, and men and women of high character are to be banished. I feel very strongly about this, but you've probably caught on to that. In this week's Parsha, we meet another demagogue by the name of Korach. Do you remember Korach? Spoiler alert. Korach was, together with his followers, swallowed up by the earth and never heard from again. Not a comfortable fate. Let's look at his complaint in light of the demagoguery about which we've been speaking. In Numbers 16 in the Parsha, it says, "Now Korach, a Levite, along with 2 sons of Eliav, decided to rise up against Moses with the support of 250 community leaders. They combined against Moses and Aaron, saying, 'You've gone too far. Why do you raise yourself up above us?' The complainant was on a roll. 'You've taken too much for the entire community. All of us are holy, and God is in their midst. Why should you exalt yourselves over the congregation of God?' Moshe, who is referred to in the tradition as an ish anava, a humble man, heard this and fell on his face and said to Korach and his followers, 'You have gone too far, son of Levi. It is not enough that God has set you apart from the community by having you perform the duties of the Levites. Will you seek the priesthood too? Truly, you rebel against God.' Korach is not satisfied and not deterred. He goes on to say, 'It is not enough that you have brought us from a land flowing with milk and honey,' which is a strange twist on a theme, 'that we should die here in the wilderness, that you should rule over us and continue to rule over us. You haven't even taken us to a land flowing with milk and honey to give us an inheritance of field and vineyard.' And at this point, Moshe loses it. He got so angry, he says to God, 'Do not turn to their offering. Not even one donkey of theirs have I taken. I haven't done anything bad to any one of them.' Rabbi Shimon Felix, in his article entitled "The Selfish Revolution," breaks down the dialogue. Moshe's words become clear, and we see the profound gap between them, that is Korach, Datan, Aviram, and their followers, and Moshe. 'Not even one donkey of theirs have I taken,' said Moshe. My relationship with power, Rabbi Felix says, leadership too, government, has never been about improving my own situation. It has not been about my taking things, implies Moshe Rabbeinu. Moses says to God, 'Do not turn to them and their offering. Do not choose them,' because their understanding of leadership is one that is rooted in self-aggrandizement and material gain and position, and is therefore unacceptable." Now, who does that sound like? Give me a minute. We may feel as if the tradition is unfair to Korach. For does he not say, "Are we not all holy before God?" And that's fine. But it is a normative understanding of the text. And when we reflect upon it and think about the first subject in this short drash, we realize that both men hide behind a kind of faux populism. They stir up nationalistic fervor and bring upon themselves and their followers disgrace and dishonor and destruction. It's time I finish. And I probably said too much. And if I were an American pulpit, I'd be getting a call from the president of the congregation on Monday. He's overseas. I am not supportive of the notion that Donald Trump should be swallowed up by the earth. But what I do hope is that the system of laws which he rails against will be validated, that truth will prevail over his lies, that his politics of division will be repudiated, that Trump will, maybe for the first time, be required to take responsibility for his own decisions, for his own actions, and that a sizable portion of the U.S. electorate will at last emerge from their strange enchantment with this most ignoble figure. This is good and necessary for America and for democracies in countries like ours and around the world. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it soon be the case. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. We rise on page 586 as we come to our concluding prayers. 586, the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המעולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני מלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We remain standing for a few more moments as we turn to page 598. And our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. This Shabbat we think of those in the period of Shiva, Timothy Simon, Valentina Kuznia, and Eva Bush. Those in the period of Shloshim, Horst Eisfelder, Sandra Lewis, Shimon Kotler, Avril Fink, Michael Harrison, Aviva Bentata, Mim Siegel, and Rochelle Kay. Norma Benjamin, Dorothy Payne, Shoshana Gesundheit, Gary Gray, and Joe Landau. We also think of those who died in the Hunter Valley bus crash: Nadine and Kia McBride, Andrew and Lynn Scott, Kane Simons, Rebecca Mullen, Darcy Bullman, Zach Bray, Tori Cowburn, and Angus Craig. We also think of all those dying so unnecessarily in Ukraine. We think of the yahrzeits that fall this Shabbat: Moshe Bayer, Judith Block,
Vera Danis, Claire Friedman, Jackie Gamer, Benno Graf, Blanca Graf, Naomi Landergross, Lionel Gross, Philip Heyman, Julie Jani, Israel Kippen, Martha Cohn, Sandra Korn, Lee Maisel, Orwell Michaelis, Miriam Nathan, Judith O'Donnell, Irene Popper, Danielle Rubin, Gertrude Rose, Elizabeth Shaw, Maud Solomon, Olga Tramer, Peter Alexander Valentine, Henrietta Fogel, Richard Wilkin, Gunichi Yamamura. If there are other names, please call them out as I look around the room. Zichronam livracha, may their memories truly be for a blessing as we turn to Kadishat Tom on page 598.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבם מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to all of humanity. And we say, amen. And so I'll invite you to be seated as Sandy, come and join us and share a few announcements from the Board of Governance. I do note that we have some, 40 people in here, 20 people online, and we had how many outside? 50 more outside. What a wonderful tribute to a congregation that is healthy, robust, and back.
Thank you. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone here in the sanctuary and to those who are watching us online at home. Temple Beth Israel acknowledges that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are the first peoples of Australia. The Banyarong people of the Kulin Nation are the traditional owners of the land on which Temple Beth Israel is located, for which they have never ceded sovereignty. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present. On behalf of every one of you and on behalf of the President and Board of Governance, I want to especially thank Rabbi Gary. Thank you for that beautiful drush this evening. Thank you to Cantor, he's there, Sharon, Ido. Special thanks to all of those involved in security for this evening. They are the ones who are keeping us safe. Tomorrow, before the service, there is Parashat HaShavua. That is at 9 a.m. It's in person and online, I understand. That'll be followed by the Shachrit service, and tomorrow it's with the choir. And later in the day is the Bat Mitzvah of India Landsberg. India, we want to wish you all the very, very best, and Mazal Tov on your special day, and Mazal Tov to all your family. The full list of activities you received online and is in the flyer at the door, but there's just a couple of very special things. The Kosher Supper Club is actually at 12 noon. It's a very early supper. It's 12 noon this Sunday, the 18th of June. The name of the place is All Things Equal, and it's an amazing social enterprise staffed by an all-abilities crew. Starting next Thursday, the 22nd of June, is the 4-week course with Rabbi Danny Schiff. This is online, and it is related to his new book, The Challenges of the Digital Age That Demand Jewish Responses. This is vitally important to our progressive movement. There are many people enrolled, but I think it's possible to still take a few more. After the final song, we would like you to join us for Kiddush, but I do want to call on Rabbi Gary because there is a special event on the 2nd of September that he will share the details with you.
Thank you very
Rabbi.
much. That's great, Sandy. In addition to that, please be reminded that the next in a succession of study programs called our Beit HaMidrash will be this Sunday at 4 o'clock. If you have yet to give it a go, please feel free to come along and to join us. Next Friday, there will be a family Shabbat service at 5 o'clock, about which more will be said in the week to come. I want to wish Ido, who will be traveling, it's expected, to his home in Israel for a much-deserved holiday, Nisiya Tova. Your congregation sends its prayers with you. And
Who gave him permission to have vacation?
Great time. Finally, I want to say a thank you to the Shabbaton Committee, to the office, particular Max Gross, and to Neil Crompton, for having completed work on a magnificent program which we're calling a Shabbat to Remember, what I imagine may well be the highlight of this year's synagogue calendar. It will be a full day of learning, Jewish living. We'll be joined by my dearest friend, Rabbi Ed Rosenthal, formerly of Beth Shalom Congregation in Auckland, who is returning to the region now as CEO of an organization called Tikkun Hayam, Repair the Sea. And Eddie, who started scuba diving in New Zealand, is now one of the foremost authorities on the Jewish attitudes towards protecting our marine environments. He's a very interesting speaker and a super great guy. But we'll have programming all day, lots of good food, the company of good friends, and we hope that you'll register straight away, if for no other reason than to be entered into a fabulous raffle. And I can promise amazing, amazing prizes. So please take this flyer home with you. You can register by scanning on the QR code at the bottom of the page. It would be wonderful to see a full group out there. And again, if you cannot make the whole day, maybe you'd like to come and join us for a beautiful Havdalah and a kosher barbecue and an evening of music and chevra. It's going to be really nice. Thank you, Sandy, for the opportunity to talk about that.
You can't be heard there, Sandy. You have to come up here if you want to be heard. Sorry, the microphone.
Sorry, my apologies. There is one other announcement. It was advertised that B'nai B'rith was showing the film of a concert at Babi Yar on the 4th of July. That is the incorrect date. That has been postponed and will be showing in October. Simone, the exact date will be printed very shortly. I can't make out. But it will be October and the exact date will be announced shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'vrato ninchi lanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים,
כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים. המוציא. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ. אמן.